Welcome in, everybody. Howard Bender, Andrew Cooper here on Alarm Fantasy Football. And you know what I just realized, Coop? I just realized that, as we get ready to start talking about NFL Week 15 and lineup decisions and weekly rankings that Coop posted over there at fantasyalarm.com, I just realized that I'm wearing the same outfit as I am in the intro. Did you notice that?
Wow, I feel like that's a good sign. I feel like that's a good sign of things to come. I love it. Should I get the outfit I'm wearing in the intro is like a tan overcoat.
I like it. You look like a football coach. You look like a 40s, 50s football coach standing on the sideline. So I dig the look, man.
You know what's funny? So we got to pick two locations for my engagement photos, and my wife picked like a creek or whatever, and I picked a football field. So when we went out there, we started taking the pictures, right, of me and my wife, and I turned to this professional photographer and I said, "Hey, what do you think about getting a couple pictures that I could use for our website?" So I did a little two birds with one stone there. That's the tip, baby.
So handsome. Click. Put this one into the personal fantasy football spank bank.
Yeah, loaded. I'll send you a few over. I got a bunch of them.
Please don't. All right. Well, we've got a ton of stuff going on here today. Coop's weekly rankings, they came out yesterday. Coop's tight end yin yang stuff, that came out. He's got his hot takes article. I mean, there's so much content that Coop is throwing your way. I am too. I published the watch list.
I'm trying to help you win. Snaps coming out today, dude. We can't hold anything back now. Can't hold anything back. We got to button it down.
And we got a Saturday slate this week as well. So, and I'll say that also for those of you out there who look at the DFS watch list, read the intro. Just trust me. Read the intro. That way you don't send our customer support an email that's saying, "Hey, where are the prices on some of these guys? How come some of the prices aren't there?" It's just a watch list. You will have a full Saturday. Like the way our tech is set up, and I'll say this, and I said it in the intro, we're waiting for our tech to fix this, but I can only assign one slate to an article. So I assign the main slate because that's the majority of the teams and the majority of the players. And so, yeah, so you don't get the pricing. You at least know the plays that I want. So do yourselves a favor. Read that intro. It's got a great story about grinding in DFS as well. Trust me, you're going to want to read it. I don't write these intros just for, shits and giggles and SEO purposes. I write them for a reason. When I speak to you, I hope that you listen.
I'm telling you, you're not supposed to just go right to the article and scroll down to the name of your player and get upset with where they're ranked, because that seems to be how most of my.
Cool, what are you doing? You're ranking my tight end too low. I'm doing that voice because of Fatty McFats' "Hey yo, hey yo,
hey yo, hey." Seriously though, it is crazy though. I'll have people be like, "What? TJ Hawkinson's in tier 2." And I'm like, well, that's because Travis Kelce's in tier 1 by himself. He's ranked 2. Like, you're going to start, you know what I mean? It's like, you're going to start him. People, tier 3, are you kidding me? I'm like, dude, the guy's ranked 4th, right? It's like, please. I don't even know why I put the tiers in there. It blows my mind, man. But anyway, enough of that.
It happens every year with every bit of rankings. Well, the party, Coop.
The people that actually, I don't know why we're saying it on this show, because the people that actually join us for the shows are the people that actually read the articles and they understand what we're doing. So like telling this audience is a waste of time. It's the people on Twitter and, you know what I mean, and Reddit that need to learn, but they're not gonna hang out with us on a Wednesday afternoon. They don't got the heart. They don't got the heart.
Anthony says right here, how much higher do you want?
That's what I'm saying. It's like they literally want me to put them next to each other. Like, I swear they want. I once published rankings. Like that, and people were all pissed. Yeah, I tweeted them out. I'm like, here are the rankings, and it was Taysom Hill 1, and then like 4 empty tiers, and then 1 tier where everybody was next to each other, and then nobody after that. And I was like, there you go. And the people that are all next to each other, it was all like every hipster tight end like you could imagine. People were like, okay, dude, we get it.
Right? I mean, listen, you know what? This is why we've turned to the dynamic tier ranking system that Coop is, brought to the table here at Fantasy Alarm. And I'm incorporating that exact same attitude and concept with the MLB rankings when those guys come out with our draft guide, which early January, right after the holidays, you're going to be diving into that. But let's stick to football here. Let's talk about what we've got now. Obviously, Fantasy Football Weekly Rankings. We're going to be talking about that. You guys throw your questions into the chat. You got lineup questions. Maybe you've got some waivers that you're dealing with tonight. Whatever the case may be, maybe you just want to, understand a concept of why we like this guy more than we like that guy. Put those questions in there. If you're watching us on the Fantasy Alarm or Better Sports Network YouTube channel, please be sure to hit a like and please subscribe as well. That's how we move forward here. We present all of this content to you for free here on YouTube, and we have a significant amount of free content over at Fantasy Alarm as well. So subscribe to these channels, and that kind of helps us grow even more. And then get over to Fantasy Alarm. If you like what we do here, get over to fantasyalarm.com/let's go. Use the promo code let's go. You'll get 50% off your first month subscription. And you know what? Just finish out the baseball season. Oh yeah, this little QR code right there. That one. That's the way to do it. That's what you want. Boom, chakalaka. So get those questions ready in chat. We're going to dive into that. But Coop, where do we go? Is there news that we have to watch? Are we watching some injuries? I'm confused as to where to begin.
We're watching a lot of injuries. A lot of the news related to that. So let's take a quick little peek-see at that. And there's also some guys that could potentially get benched. It's crazy to think that even at the quarterback position at this time of year, we've got some changes, right? So we'll get into the injuries shortly, but I want to talk. There's two quarterback changes going on that are not related to injuries. One, we found out that Nick Mullins is actually going to get the start. It's been explained to Joshua Dobbs. Apparently, Kevin O'Connell said why that's the case. I mean, what are your thoughts there, man? Can Nick Mullins hold it down? Obviously, there's questions once you get to Jordan Addison and KJ Osborne, but Justin Jefferson and TJ Hawkinson, these are some high-end assets. Can you afford to put them on the bench?
Well, I mean, listen, Jefferson, I don't even know if Jefferson's going to play this week. I don't even know. I mean, I'd be surprised considering what they've been talking about as far as his injury goes and the chest injury and an immediate rush to the hospital and tests being run. That I think Jefferson becomes more like a game time decision leading up to Saturday's slate. Hawkinson, I think you have to put him in there. Nick Mullins isn't some wet behind the ears rookie. He's been around. He's started games. He was, an active part of the 49ers for a little while. So he's a regular quarterback. He is, yes, he's not like your elite level guy, but he's somebody who knows that he can lean on his tight end against a team that can't cover the tight end. So, for me, Hawkinson is an automatic. He's in the watch list. I'll use him for DFS on Saturday's slate. The fringe receivers there, Addison, Brandon Powell, even. I don't know if I don't know how interested.
Pow, right in the kisser. I'm interested in them for that reason.
It just kind of depends on what you're doing with your lineups in order to utilize those guys. But I wouldn't be adverse to using say a Nick Mullins, Ty Chandler, TJ Hawkinson stack in DFS this week. I might be interested in that. Season long, it's a matter of who you have as your other options. Hawkinson, lock him in. Jefferson, if he plays, lock him in. The other guys, just kind of wait and see.
Exactly. That's the big thing with Nick Mullins, right? Is that, with rookies, you have to understand these guys have been playing with these teams and practicing. They play football all week long, right? They've running the plays, doing all that. So even rookies at this stage in the game have had plenty of practice. But the rookies, they go out under these bright lights, and sometimes they panic, right? They pee their pants. Whereas Nick Mullins has already been out there a million times, right? He's fine. So I'm not too worried about it. And if they think he's better than Dobbs, then who am I to disagree? So yeah, I'll be fine on that. Another interesting one is Victor Four of The Athletic now saying that it's at first there were rumblings, but he's willing to come out and say that it's very likely that Aiden O'Connell will be benched for Jimmy Garoppolo if he plays poorly in week 15. So this one out there for all the Superflex leagues, Aiden O'Connell, if that is out there, Aiden O'Connell has to be ranked dead last for me. I'm going to probably move him under Nick Mullins. I mean, because if he can be benched, I mean, because you go out and throw one interception and get benched, that's negative points, right? So I'm going to have to move him down there. Do you think that it's going to have any impact on the players, though, as far as where you're going to rank Devontae Adams? It's for me, I don't know if it matters, but what do you think?
No, I don't think it really matters. I mean, we weren't ranking guys high because of, or lower because of Aiden O'Connell that much. Devontae Adams is Devontae Adams. Jacoby Myers is Jacoby Myers. I'm perfectly fine with either one of those guys. Devontae Adams is the featured guy, and you have to treat him as such. Will it help that Garoppolo's there? I don't necessarily know if it's going to really help that Garoppolo's there, but it does keep Adams still in that conversation. And it definitely keeps Jacoby Myers in the conversation in full point PPR. Definitely does.
Yeah. So I'm with you. It's like, I don't even know what even if they changed who was starting before the game, it doesn't really change anything because these guys are both just kind of middle of the pack doing their best. Isaiah Pacheco. So from here on out, we got a lot of injury news. Isaiah Pacheco did not practice again Wednesday. Going up against the Patriots, for you, is that more of a CEH situation or a Jerick McKinnon situation?
I got to hang out with Jerick McKinnon. I don't really know. I honestly don't really know how much like CEH is going to get the work. And I'm sure that there's going to be some points where CEH gets into the end zone. But you know that like with Patrick Mahomes and the level of frustration that he's seeing right now across the board with his wide receivers, he's going to revert to who he knows. He knows he can trust Rashee Rice. He knows he can trust Jerick McKinnon. He will utilize those guys in a major fashion. So yeah, I think we're totally fine there.
Yeah, I could see frustrated Mahomes coming out and just calling his own number all game, just audible pass plays all game. I mean, we've seen Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers do that, in the past. These guys that have control of the offense, they get frustrated, they come out and they're just slinging. Right? Tom Brady's last couple of years, he wouldn't let them call a run play. He did not care. So I could see a Patrick Mahomes angry game this week where, if he's throwing a ton, that's a McKinnon game. Also, injuries that we're keeping an eye on, CJ Stroud, concussion protocol. And I'll tell you what, John and Pemba on the previous show made a great point, Howard. You look at the line for that game, right, where the Titans and Texans, you would think that the Texans would be favored, but the Titans are actually favored by 2.5 points, and the over-under is 37.5. According to Pemba, he's thinking that's Vegas telling us that CJ Stroud's not going to play. So Stroud folks out there, be prepared.
You should definitely be prepared. But I mean, I don't hate Davis Mills either. And I even said that in the watch list. Like, I'm going to monitor CJ Stroud's progress. But this matchup against Tennessee it's a very favorable matchup. And Davis Mills has started for the Texans before. He's worked with these guys. He's spent a lot of time right now working with Xavier Hutchinson and John Mechie, who I told you yesterday I was intrigued a little bit with them with regard to, picking them up on waivers. If Davis Mills is under center, again, I'm not downgrading the players. Obviously, CJ Stroud is great, but this is a smash matchup against a secondary that just struggles in coverage in general. So it's not just a matter of what CJ Stroud can do on the field, because what he can do on the field is great. And him against Tennessee, chef's kiss. But Davis Mills experienced enough that I'm not going to be against him.
Right. I'm with you on that. And the Titans are good against the tight end. They're good against the running backs, even in the pass game, but terrible against wide receivers. So I'm with you on that. Even the Xavier Hutchinson dart throw, kind of feeling all right about it, man. He's going to be in that role. He's going to be in that split end role. So I'm with you on that. Other news here, we got Geno Smith dealing with a groin. So that's an interesting one too, spread-wise, Howard. Only 3.5 points. So Philly is going into Seattle. I know it's loud there. It can be tough to play there. But 47.5 point over under, only 3.5 point spread. I know you've kind of been picking against the Eagles successfully for a couple weeks now, even picking the Cowboys when you hate doing that. But now it's starting to get scary. Like, this line is kind of tells us that Vegas is kind of calling the Eagles frauds a little bit here, right? So, I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts on this one? I kind of want to bet the Eagles, but I've been on the wrong side of that one I was with you on the Cowboys, but I was definitely wrong. I was definitely wrong on the 49ers. So The Eagles are starting to annoy me, but I just feel like they're a better team than that line indicates. What are your thoughts on that?
They're definitely a better team than that line indicates, and they've been dealing with the struggles. I mean, listen, it's not like they're playing and losing these games to pushover teams, right? They walked into
Right.
Kansas City and they came out with a win. Yes, Mahomes is, guys let him down, but I mean, are we really looking at, Philadelphia going up against Dallas, going up against the 49ers, going up against Buffalo? Like, I mean, that's a gauntlet right there. Look at that.
Yeah,
They got
crazy.
to pummel the Commanders, right? And then they go Dallas, Chiefs, Bills. They win all three of those, right? Then they lose to the 49ers. They get spanked by the 49ers, but they lose to the 49ers, and then they lose to Dallas in back-to-back games. And what? And now we're out on them? Really?
Now they're cruising. Honestly, can you see the rest of the schedule? It's like Giants, Cardinals, Giants again.
Yeah. So Seahawks, Giants, Cardinals, Giants. Yeah, I look at this and I don't know about betting it yet. It's a 4-point spread, but I have not lost faith in using Eagles. Hurts, Devonta Smith, AJ Brown. I'm more than happy to get all of them in there. I'll use some Dallas Goedert, depending on the matchup. I mean, over the next like 3 weeks, not including, even with Seattle, I'd be very interested in using DeAndre Swift. Seattle's run defense is soft. And I mean, we know the Giants and Cardinals already.
Yeah, for real. So Eagles down the stretch, man. That could be the league winning combo. Other ones here, we talked about Justin Jefferson already. He's got the chest issue. Nico Collins dealing with the calf, not looking good there. Josh Jacobs with the knee, Alexander Madison with the ankle. We're keeping an eye on all this stuff. On the defensive side, couple big ones here. Grant Delpit now on IR with a groin issue. So maybe the Browns have been great against the tight end, but maybe without safety, Grant Delpit, maybe that's why Evan Ingram was able to make some moves last week, and maybe they're not going to be as crazy a defense, right?
This is why you're whispering tight ends, baby. This is why you do what you do, right? You're the one who told everybody to worry about Sam Laporta against Eddie Jackson in Chicago. So why wouldn't we listen to you going, maybe Grant Delpit, who signed a beautiful 3-year extension too, right? Good for him. But now that he's out, he's done. I mean, yeah, I think that you can definitely start looking at tight ends going up against Cleveland. I don't know let's see what Cleveland's schedule is here. Let's see who we like. Cole Kmet.
Eases things up. Schultz. So it was supposed to be terrible matchup for Schultz, and then the Titans trade away Kevin Byard, and then now the Browns. Maybe it's not as tough as we thought. So maybe Dalton Schultz could be on the menu. I'm still pretty scared of him, especially because he's already hurt. But I don't know. But yeah, big test this week with Cole Kmet. Let's see what Cole Kmet can do before we make any judgments moving forward. But I don't know. Could be. It could be.
Could be. I like your attitude. You got spunk, kid. You got moxie. I appreciate that very, very much.
Last one here, and then maybe we'll do some underdog quick. Bears placed defensive end Yannick Ngakoue on injured reserve as well with an ankle. So Bears already struggling. One of the worst teams in the league, lose one of their pass rushers. So pretty rough.
Well, that's the thing, right? And what it could actually do as well is it could inspire a little bit more outside zone against the Bears on that side of the field that Ngakoue is usually there. You can run right up the middle and be fine against the Bears. You have to deal with Montez Sweat, and it's like a rough shot there. But with Ngakoue off of that end, and perhaps maybe some outside zone work, some pass catching running backs going up against the Bears. I don't know. Does this who the Bears play? Who are they in against this week?
Sorry, the Browns.
Oh,
I was just talking Cole Kmet. Yeah.
So maybe this helps Kareem Hunt. Maybe this helps Jerome Ford a little bit. Doesn't make them dead plays. Obviously, we've seen teams running on the Browns a little bit more lately. And we've seen, and maybe we'll now see that with a little bit more run on the Bears.
Because the Bears have been kind of tough against the run. So,
yeah.
All right.
Well, there you go. So you want to let's do some underdog here. Let's help everybody out. Let's talk to, we'll give a shout out here to our sponsors at Underdog Fantasy. And remember, for whatever you want to do, like best ball drafts, pick 'em contests, everything that Underdog offers, hit this QR code right here or go to fantasyalarm.com/underdog. Use the promo code ALARM. They'll give you an instant deposit match, your first deposit up to $100. So what we like to do is we always like to play some pick'em contests. We give you some picks here. We gave you a couple yesterday. We're going to give you a couple today. We haven't seen a featured player yet. Just be on the lookout for it before you start setting and finalizing your contests, especially because they usually do like a half-yard guy for Thursday night football. So be on the lookout for that. But we gave you 2 picks yesterday. Let's go today here. Coop, where are you going?
Yeah, what I've been doing, Howard, is I put a little note in my phone. So whenever we drop a Thursday guy, I'll put a little note there, and I'll save up the Thursday guys for when the Thursday feature comes out, and then I put them all in. So my first one I want to do here is not a Thursday guy. So you can make them and put them in with this guy right now, right away. And it's Tanner Hudson. And my boy Tanner Studson there. Oddly enough, even though he's only been running like 10 routes a game. And when I say 10, I mean last week he ran 10, right? The week before that he ran 10. The week before that he ran 13. They are dialing up plays specific to this guy. So the last, 6-7 weeks, he's had, 4 receptions in every game except last week. And last week he scored the touchdown. So these are his targets the last few weeks: 3, 4, 5, 4, 7, 5. Right, Irv Smith is basically, he's zoned out. He's been out of the offense. They use Drew Sample as the rundown tight end, but this guy's getting the pass work. They have his number set at only 2 this week, so I'm going higher on that 2 from my guy Tanner Hudson. I think his usage. There's a whistle, baby. I think his usage is only going to get better. Only going to get better as we go. So yeah, Tanner Studson, baby, get him in there.
I love that. All right. Well, I'm going to stick to the Thursday night game, and I'm going to take advantage of a 1.25x multiplier here, right? Coop told you before, you got to look for those little cayenne peppers that they got there. So you got a little cayenne pepper here. Austin Eckler's getting into the end zone. So damn hot. He's so damn hot. Eckler's getting into the end zone. Boom. He's getting in. It's the Raiders. If with Easton Stick under center, I imagine that we're going to see a little bit heavier of a lean on the ground game to kind of help things out. You're also going to probably see a lot more checkdowns from Easton Stick. It doesn't jibe really well with Kellen Moore's offense, but even Kellen Moore is smart enough to realize that he's going to have to allow for maybe some design screens or anything like that in order to get the ball into Eckler's hand. So I say he gets into the end zone against these Raiders, these soft Raiders team. So Austin Eckler higher than half a rushing or receiving touchdown at 1.25. Boom.
Yeah, I checked it out, and with those little cayenne peppers, they'll let you get up to 100x using them. So if you stack up enough of those peppers, you can get up to 100x. That's where they draw the line, though. So if you see, this one's 1.2, some put 2.5. Sometimes they go up to 2 or even higher than that. If you stack a ton of them up, you can get crazy multipliers going. But that's where they draw the line on that. But yeah, I'm feeling good about both those picks.
All right, beautiful. So again, thank you to our friends over at Underdog Fantasy. And if you guys haven't played on over there yet, do it. Just do it. I'm telling you, we have underdog picks on fantasyalarm.com for every sport. Well, maybe not every. We do it for hockey. We do it for basketball. We do it for football. So you want to make sure that you get involved there. We'll be doing it for baseball when that starts up also. And then we've also got like a whole bunch of MLB best ball drafts. Get on over there. Hit this QR code or go to fantasyalarm.com/underdog. Use that promo code ALARM for an instant deposit match on your first deposit up to $100. All right, Coop, where do you want to go next? I see the chat is bumping.
Honestly, anytime that underdog logo comes up, I just want to do best ball drafts. Like, I just want to get back in. Like, we do a ton of them with the family, and it's the same funds there. So, get loaded up there. But I don't know. I'm ready for them to open up again, dude. Like, just all the hope. There's so much hope in a March or February best ball draft, isn't there, Howard? There's just so much. Anything's possible. Anything
is possible. Listen, I was just checking my teams out. I'm still in first place in the Best Ball Fantasy Championship League, that one of the drafts that I did over at the Fantasy Alarm show, and I'm inside the top 300 when it comes to the overall $10,000 championship winner. So I'm feeling good about that one right off the bat. So yes, lots of hope, lots of promise, lots of excitement when it comes to best ball.
Yeah. Now, speaking of hope and promise and excitement, honestly, what I kind of wanted to do today, if it's cool with you, is look at. I love doing this time of year. Is looking at these games that have playoff implications, especially some of these. The slate. You know, we've been complaining about the slate all year, Howard, with some of the terrible Monday night games and bad Sunday night games. This week, it's all good, man. Like everything's set up so good. We have 3 Saturday games, right? Full slate of games at 1 o'clock because there's no bye weeks. There's only 3 4 o'clock games, but they're all awesome. Like they're 49 and a half over under on Washington Rams, 47 and a half on the 49ers game, 50 on the other game. And then you got 2 games that are meaningful at night. So I like to look at some of the meaningful games for real life implications and see how we can lean into that because those games, these guys are scrapping. Right. So to give you an example, Howard, Steelers, Colts, both teams are 7-6. Both teams essentially have to win this to keep their playoff hopes alive.
Playoffs?
So I like, yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that was the Colts coach that said that.
Don't
right?
talk about it. Playoffs.
Yeah. So I like to look at that one and say, okay, who in this game, in this must-win game for both teams, who can we explicitly and implicitly trust for fantasy football? So Steelers, Colts, Howard, who jumps at you?
Steelers, Colts, the guys who jump out at me the most, well, I'll just say this. For Steelers, Colts, who did I put down here? I know I took some notes from myself here. All right, listen, Michael Pittman and Deontay Johnson to me are obvious plays.
Yes.
They're definite obvious plays. I like them both. We know that Minshew hits Pittman on the regular. A little tougher than usual matchup here against the Pittsburgh secondary. Sure, maybe a little bit, but they're on the road in Indianapolis, and I like Steelers defense at home more than I like them on the road.
Yeah.
Deontay Johnson, he's a move the chains type of guy. He gets the volume in a PPR format. I dig him. He's even seeing some red zone looks right now. So those are my 2 obvious guys. The role players who intrigue me, I'll say it. Najee Harris, George Pickens, Zach Moss. Those 3 guys really, I mean, you can look at Jalen Warren, you can look at Josh Downs, although Josh Downs seems to have been losing some work to Alec Pierce, which kind of
I don't trust him. I don't trust either of them now. I can't.
So Harris, Pickens, and Moss are the 3 role players basically who I'm intrigued by using this week, especially because it's a Saturday game.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I mean, I went and looked around. There's no situations where I have Michael Pittman or Zach Moss where they're not in my lineup. I mean, just like the upside for a guy like Moss, and we said it all year long with guys like Rashad White and Joe Mixon, that there's something to be said about just getting every touch, like being the full-time guy. We see it all the time with James Conner. With Zach Moss, like he's got such a good floor because he's the only show in town that you have to get him in there. So, and you can run on the Steelers. So I'm with you on that, man.
Beautiful. All right.
Yeah. Next one I'll hit you with another.
Did I miss anybody that intrigues you?
No, that's pretty much it because I can't trust Pat Freiermuth with Trubisky. If it was Kenny Pickett, then I could mix them in there, but no. And then the Colts, their tight end rotation is just a mess. I don't even like it for DFS because unlike the Tanner Hudson situation where there's just one guy, the Colts, whether it's Kylan Granson or it's Will Mallory, it's just I don't like guessing between 2 fringe guys. I'm just going to leave it all alone. So yeah. But next one here, Vikings, Bengals. Again, both 7-6 teams and playoff hopes on the line. If you lose when you're 7-6, you're pretty much toast, man. So, I imagine we talked about TJ Hawkinson already. So he's in there. If Justin Jefferson plays, he's in there. Jamar Chase, Howard, he's an obvious locked-in play for you too at this stage?
Yeah, I would say that Jamar Chase is probably a guy that you want to kind of lock into. He's seeing the volume. It's really kind of funny. I've been talking to Jim Bowden about it a lot. Jim Bowden he's a big fan of Jake Browning. I'm more of a fan than I am for sure. But I'm not going to deny it. And, we see that there is a lean on Jamar Chase there. Maybe he was dealing with, some extra coverage last week that they kind of shied away from him. But in this matchup here this weekend against the Vikings, I'm definitely in on Jamar Chase. I like from this game, Chase.
Jim can't be more of a bigger fan of Jake Browning than Chris Collinsworth is because Chris Collinsworth knew his life story going back to the first. He knew what grades he got in like second grade during
That
the
doesn't
game.
surprise me at all. Chris Collinsworth loves to lock into those Cincinnati players, even more so than Jim. Like Jim's got the baseball affinity for Cincinnati and the city, but
Right.
yeah. For me in this game, it's Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, and TJ Hawkinson. Those are like my 3 lock players. Those are the guys who, no matter what, season long, I'm starting these guys in this matchup. I like it. I'm not going to play games with it.
Yeah, I'm with you. You said Joe Mixon as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Chase, Mixon, and Hawkinson.
I'm not
Those are my lock
about,
guys.
I'm not worried about
Jefferson
Chase Brown.
too.
Jefferson too. Yeah, I'm not worried about Chase Brown, man. I mean, like the thing with Chase Brown is that he can make explosive plays and kind of fun as a DFS play, but the split isn't nearly as dramatic as people are making it out to be. Joe Mixon's still playing 50 snaps, right? Like the split's not any different than Travis Etienne and D'Ernest Johnson. It's just if D'Ernest Johnson busted off a 50-yard touchdown, that would be the case, right? If it was like a 50-50 split where Chase was getting certain plays, like all the 2-minute drill or all the red zone, then I would care. Right now, I do not care. I'm starting Joe Mixon no matter what, especially going up against the Vikings. And yeah, I mean, honestly, that's the thing with this game is that there's a lot of fantasy relevant assets, but you look around and a lot of the guys we used to trust, tough to trust. I mean, the number one guy, I'm already getting a lot of start sits on it. T. Higgins, man. T. Higgins for me is just like, I thought this would be a guy that was set and forget, and I just don't feel that way. I mean, he's not an RB2 or wide receiver 2 for you. Is he wide receiver 3 territory, wide receiver 4?
I mean, I get, like Higgins is a guy who I'm going to play the matchups. I'm going to look to see what's out there, who's available, who are my guys, and then just kind of go from that aspect. Like, I mean, if I don't have somebody who I think is as strong a play as Higgins in this matchup against Minnesota, then I'll use Higgins. But, if I'm like, ooh, if I want to look at like maybe Zay Flowers, right, against the Jaguars, I'd probably use him over Higgins, and even with the matchup.
Yeah, true. Well, why don't we get to that game then? Why don't we talk about that game? Because that's another one. Ravens, they're 10-3. Jaguars are 8-5. These teams are scratching and clawing for those spots. And honestly, the Ravens right now are still in the mix for the 1 seed, right? Because the Dolphins have a pretty rough schedule coming up, and the Jaguars are in the mix for their division, right? I think they're still leading the division. So, you're going to start Lamar Jackson, but after that, what else we got for obvious plays that are going to must start? I don't know how many there are. I want pieces. I want pieces of the game,
right?
Because I think it's going to be a great game, right? Like,
yeah. Listen,
Sunday.
Obvious for me, Lamar Jackson. If I'm sitting here scrambling around for a QB, Trevor Lawrence goes in there. He looked fine. Travis Etienne, even though it's the Ravens and they're a tough lineup, I'm not going to, I'm not gonna shy away from starting Etienne in a season-long fantasy because of that. You're getting too cute. He gets too much volume for that. Role players who I like, here you go. OBJ, Zay Flowers, Isaiah Likely.
Yes.
Ridley, Zay Jones, and Evan Engram. I'm lukewarm to not really on Gus Edwards, Keaton Mitchell. And I don't necessarily know if I need to buy into the Parker Washington hype.
Yeah, I think Parker Washington showdown slate only. If you're going to play the single game, because I think this is the Sunday night game, right? If you're going to play a single game Sunday night game slate, then go ahead. But I just feel like this time of year, especially during the season, there are times where I start players and then I look at my lineup and I'm like, you stupid. Why did you do that? You lose because you try and do something too crazy. If you do it in the playoffs, you think about it all offseason. If I lose because I started Parker Washington over a guy that I've been starting all year, I'm not gonna be able to sleep at night. And I do think about it. I've done it so many times where like, why did I do that? Why didn't I just start the guys that are good? So I do love Isaiah. For me, I might even put Isaiah Likely in the obvious play category with how many injuries we have to tight ends and how many quarterback changes we have. Like Isaiah Likely against the Jaguars, David Njoku just took him out behind the woodshed with Joe Flacco last week. So I think Isaiah Likely with Lamar Jackson, give me that, all of that, break it down. So
I like it. I like it a lot. No doubt about it.
Yeah. And
What
again,
any other games with like really strong? Oh yeah, we got a
right, we
couple of them there.
gotta talk
Huh?
about the big dog, right? If we're gonna talk about anyone, it's the Cowboys Bills game, and talk about real life implications, right? Because the Cowboys now find themselves in a spot where they kind of hold the tiebreakers on the Eagles if they can just win, and the Cowboys' schedule stinks. But if they can
Yeah.
just win, if they win out, they got the tiebreakers. They could send the Eagles thought they would just walk right into the 1 seed or whatever they would have. They could end up playing wild card weekend. Can you imagine, Howard?
I tell you, man, I talked about it yesterday. You do not want to give Dallas home field advantage throughout these playoffs.
No.
Like, I don't think they'll catch the 49ers, and we'll know that the NFC Championship game will run through San Francisco. But I'll tell you what, man, if the Dallas Cowboys can keep pace with the Eagles, because the Eagles don't have a tough schedule, but Dallas does. But if the Cowboys can actually like keep pace and win the NFC East, that's going to make them ridiculously dangerous throughout these playoffs. They're 7-0 at home, 6-1 against the spread in Dallas. So,
and they'll be coming in with momentum, dude, because they're playing on the road at Buffalo, on the road at Miami. If they win, then they got the Lions coming to town. If they win those games, they'll hit the best of all worlds, right? I also have goosebumps just thinking about it. I was just thinking about, I'm like, dude, because it's a combination of two things. It's the best teams and the teams that get hot at the right time, right? That's how the Giants won kind of both their Super Bowls. They weren't the best teams. They got hot at the right time and everything lined up perfectly. I mean, if this Cowboys team can get hot at the right time and come in with that momentum, it's scary, man. And the Eagles, I mean, look at the spread this week. They're not even, just barely favorites against the Seahawks. They got to be having some closed doors meetings over there in Philadelphia, I'm guessing, right? Players only meeting? No, not players only, but closed doors for sure, where you get the media out of the way. Jordan Mailata, the lineman, did you hear what he said this week, Howard?
No, what was his comment?
He said that somebody on the street yelled at him and said, a classic Eagles fan said, hey, how about more pass blocking and less Christmas songs?
That's a man after my own heart, right? Remind me to send that dude a fruitcake this holiday season. That's deserving of it.
Classic Eagles fans, dude. You see one of your, the players, you recognize a lineman from your favorite team, and you don't say, hey, what's up, man? You say, hey, no more Christmas tunes. So classic Philly, man. But yeah, in this game, let's talk about this one because this is the one, right? Shootout. We talk about shootout conditions. What do we want? High over-unders, right? We're talking 50.5 points. We want a close spread. We want a close game. 2.5 point favorite is the home team, which is that's as close to a pick 'em as you're going to get with teams like this. So, and you got stars in this game. So, who are the obvious plays? I mean, Cowboys, Bills.
Dak Prescott, Tony Pollard, CeeDee Lamb, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs.
Everybody.
Those guys they're must starts in season long. Don't get cute. Don't piss and moan about the matchup. Somebody actually asked me yesterday about sitting Stephon Diggs. Really? You want to sit Stephon Diggs? Did we not watch Deron Bland get burnt like an overcooked piece of toast a couple weeks? I mean, come on. So those are my lock button guys.
Parker Washington or Stephon Diggs this week? I get those sometimes. And I'm like,
I do too. They're maddening, aren't they? They're just the guys who interest me to use, even though it's a tough matchup that I still like. I'll still go with Brandon Cooks. I still think that he is in a good spot, and I think the Cowboys use him well. And I'm sorry that he didn't have a good week last week. I wouldn't sit there and read too much into it. Jake Ferguson at tight end. Yum, give me some. He is a massive red zone target. James Cook. I mean, I don't know how many people were like questioning me about utilizing James Cook last week in DFS. I was like, listen, everybody's going for the passing attacks in this Buffalo Kansas City game. So put James Cook into your GPP lineups. Like, that's the contrarian play. If everybody thinks Josh Allen's going to be passing it to Diggs and to Gabe Davis and those guys, then go the other way and utilize James Cook. This dude's touches have been amazing since they went from Ken Dorsey to Joe Brady.
So, you want to talk about, but James, forget the rushing. James Cook has basically been what you want Parker Washington to be. Last 2 games, 7 targets, 6 catches, 57 yards, 5, and then the next game, 5 receptions for 83 and a touchdown. So even without just the receiving, man. And then of course, he's going to mix in 10, 15 carries no matter what. So yeah, I'm in. I was the guy that was out on James Cook, and in the last few weeks talking to you, I've been moving him up, man. I mean,
that's all right. You rolled your eyes on me with Jaden Reed last week too. I love
did.
your comments, by the way, in Twitter. You're like, I tried to stop him.
I did, dude.
Look at my face. If you wanted to stop
in the video, I was sitting there. I was like, I was like, are you sure about that, dude? I mean, go back
and look at.
There's no Howard. There's no stopping you, brother. There's no stopping
you, me.
Yeah. So, and I'll honestly, if Dalton Kincaid's playing, then I'm playing him too. I'm starting everybody, dude. I want as many pieces in this game.
Do you, Andrew Cooper, take Dalton Kincaid to be your lawfully wedded tight end for the rest of the season?
He's up there in the shoulder sling, and I take the veil off.
Welcome to Love Connection, where old-fashioned romance meets modern-day technology.
Coop's gonna be sitting there. He's gonna be like, he's flying to Buffalo and he's asking for permission. He's just standing there with a tube of Ben Gay and just bare hands. And he's like, "Can I rub you down, Dalton? Can I rub you down?
I got you.
Let me get your shoulder."
So yeah, Britt in the chat did point out he showed up in the injury report. We knew he was going to be on there. I didn't know that he had a thumb issue. I don't know what the hell that is, but the thing is, he was limited in practice. Right?
He said, "What?"
That's what it was, dude. Jumped up too quick. But the what was I even saying, dude?
I don't even know.
So
you're starting him.
You're starting him. He said he was going to play. The fact that he's limited, like it's Wednesday. Of course, he was going to be limited if he was left the game with a shoulder issue. But as long as he gets a full practice in either Thursday or Friday, then I'm in fully. I don't care. I made my bed at the start of the season. I held this guy all year long. He's been great. Even with Dawson Knox this week, he actually played more snaps than he was playing before. So I'm in on Kincaid, dude. I've already committed. Full steam ahead. Choo choo.
Choo choo. I'm with you. All right, we've got one more game that's got some interesting playoff implications here. Bucks Packers. Yeah. Right. I mean, Bucks are 6-7. They are in contention for the NFC South title. Packers could very well be, pushed into some wild card consideration. So off of this game here, Coop, for me, obvious plays, Rachaad White, Mike Evans, no doubt.
For sure.
If Christian Watson is out, I'll say that. If he's out, then Jaden Reed is a must start for me. If he's in, then Jaden Reed becomes more of a, well, who are my other options and what are their matchups kind of a thing. But if
there's a lot of those guys. This is the one where there's a lot of those guys that are on the fringe. And it makes me sad to say it, but Chris Godwin with Baker Mayfield has been a fringe guy. I just don't think they have the time that they need. So I would go Jaden Reed over Godwin, even if Christian Watson's playing. Just because Reed's getting the carries, he's mixing a little bit, like you said. So, I mean, like, there's a lot of guys you can consider. You can consider Romeo Doubs. You can consider Watson if he plays. Cade Otton. Besides that one game versus the Panthers, where it was basically the Mike Evans one-man show. He was trying to get that 10, that 1,000-yard ball. So that was the game there. But besides that, Baker, Love, all those guys are on the fringe. I mean, it's really just White and Evans. And I think at this stage, why don't we get to the chat and we'll see what people think there?
Yeah, I think going to the chat, I think, is where we should be right now. Wow, they are.
Love it.
You know me, I love the chat. We've been neglecting the chat a little bit. Sorry, chat.
We love you, chat.
How dare you?
Aw, man. Well, I want to double check here real quick, and I want to make sure that I didn't miss any questions from anybody earlier on. Here, see, restream off of Twitch. Singletary versus Tennessee or Connor versus San Francisco? I think I'm going Connor here. I know it's a terrible matchup, but I think the pass catching work for Connor is what they're going to kind of look to do in order to negate the pass rush, because you got Bosa and Chase Young coming at you.
The matchup's even honestly worse for Singletary because the Tennessee's been a top team in DVOA and they're letting up the fewest receptions of any team to running backs. So it's really not a good matchup. I'm going Connor.
All right. Cal Chad TTV says, are we considering Pierre Strong with Hunt dealing with a groin issue and Ford with a hand injury? Well, it's actually a wrist thing. X-rays came back negative on Jerome Ford's wrist. There's no fracture. There's no break. There's no structural damage. He's going to be fine. Hunt with the groin, I don't really know. I don't love Pierre Strong, though. How about you?
Nah, I mean, considering him for what? What kind of world is your fantasy? How did you make the playoffs if your career Pierre Strong's even on the radar of any kind? Maybe playoffs. Maybe in DFS, yeah.
All right, let's go. Here we go. Likely or McBride from Chris UFC 97, full point PPR. And then we got another question after that, but let's start with Likely versus McBride.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, dude. My followers and I, we've got the DJ Khaled problem, struggling from success right now, Howard. Too many, a lot of us have stacked up Laporta, McBride, Kincaid, and Likely, and now it's really tough this week to decide. It's
not tough. You've got Likely going up against the Jaguars, and you've got McBride going up against San Francisco. They're both great players. They're both heavily targeted. Who do you think pops more, though?
The better matchup, but you didn't let me finish. It's tough on my heart to have to bench Trey McBride. The decision's not tough. It's just tough to see him. I don't like seeing him like that. I don't like seeing him on the bench like that.
No, me neither. Dude, I had to put Sam Laporta on the bench last week. You know how that made me feel, but
you were right. It's the right thing to do.
These are the tough decisions. Yo, you were right. You were the one who alerted everybody to Eddie Jackson.
Yeah, he's a scary. There's some guys that are just kind of killers, man. So I'm going. We don't like doing it, but McBride, we got to put him on the bench.
PPR still here. McLaurin, Thielen, Flowers, Rice, Palmer. Pick two.
See, Palmer would be in the conversation if Justin Herbert wasn't out for the year. I can't go away from Rashee Rice right now, so I'm going to start him. And then I kind of want to go McLaurin because this Rams Washington game, it could just be the exact kind of huck it, chuck it football we like to see at 4:00. So I'm going McLaurin and Rashee Rice.
Was it like a 49 over under? Yeah. It's the highest on the slate. Like that and the Dallas Bills game are both the two highest on the slate. Yeah, listen, I sat there. We just watched the Giants, not the Giants, the Ravens going up against the Rams. And you saw the passing work that happened there for Zay Flowers. OBJ was like wide open. I get it was a revenge game thing there for him, but still, yeah. Terry McLaurin, I like it. I like
150 total plays. They're going to be 150 offensive plays, and if there's overtime, there'll be 200 in that game. I'm calling it right now.
All right, let's see. Where are we going? Rod Elliott in the house. What's up, Rod? Derrick Henry or Breece Hall this week? Derrick Henry's got the
Texans. He historically crushes the Texans, and he also is basically – is it 3 weeks in a row, 2 touchdowns in each game, or 2 weeks in a row now? I mean,
2 weeks in a row.
He's fine. He's fine in the end zone, man. I'm gonna go Derrick Henry.
I'm going Henry here as well. Miami could game flow Hall out, and while yes, Hall can catch a couple of passes, Derrick Henry could run like a beast. What about Montgomery, Hall, Jacobs, and Ford? Need 2 in a PPR.
Well, again, Rod, that one. You might have to tuck that one in your pocket and save it for Thursday because we don't have a status on Josh Jacobs, right? Which changes everything because I would like to have Josh Jacobs in there. But assuming Josh Jacobs is out, it's Monty and Hall. But I think I would, if Jacobs plays, again, that's a Thursday game. So pop back, Rod, you're always hanging out. So pop back in on Thursday with that one.
Yeah. And I wish you weren't so young, Coop, that you could know how funny Monty Hall was that you just said there. He was the host of Let's Make a Deal.
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. You're so young. Rod, I'll say this.
An old man's talking.
Shut it, Burns. Monty and Hall for me if Jacobs is out. Monty and Jacobs for me if Jacobs plays. Just gonna leave it at that. Brad Testerman in the house. Thank you very much. Great job on Survivor. I appreciate that. Playoff decisions. PPR wide receiver need 2. Justin Jefferson, Chris Olave, DK Metcalf, Garrett Wilson, Josh Downs.
Oh boy, no Downs for sure, and I don't think I would go Wilson either. I think it's going to be Justin Jefferson and DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf, all of a sudden looking like a pretty good play against the Eagles.
And he's not gotten thrown out of the last game.
Yeah, he
might have done some
he already scored a touchdown in that game. Yeah.
I'm going to lean. I mean, yes, if Jefferson plays, then there we go. But I don't necessarily know if he is or he might be limited. So I like Olave against the Giants this week for sure. Yeah. Right, Olave and DK play for me.
Yep.
Running back need 2. Bijan. It's a B Robinson. So right, it's Barkley, Gibbs, Kenneth Walker, Charbonnet, or
it's assume based on the order he's ranking them in, that's Bijan. That's not Brian.
Okay, then Bijan and Barkley are my calls here. I might be swayed with Gibbs over Barkley, but because it's against New Orleans in New Orleans, but I don't know if I could do that. For me, it's Bijan and Barkley.
Well, he tags on at the very end that he needs a flex as well. So I'd just start Gibbs too.
Start Gibbs Your Honor, the defense rests.
I object.
Cleveland D or Kansas City D this week?
Kansas City against the Patriots feels pretty nice to me, doesn't it?
It does feel like a nice spot to be, doesn't it? It does. Angie Hatfield says, "Can you please rank this week?" Angie, you've got full access to the website. You got them. They're already ranked over there.
Cheap, but tight end premium. So we'll give it to you, Angie. We'll give it to you. It's exactly how you listed it, though. You have it right. Likely Ferg Schultz.
Yes, likely Ferg Schultz. And would you start any of them over Ty Chandler or Deontay Johnson? In tight end premium, I would start
2-point tight end premium.
Yeah, I would start likely and Ferguson over both those guys.
Yeah,
Schultz, I'm not so sure.
Schultz, I would not. I'm still a little worried about the matchups for Schultz. I know that things have changed a little bit, but they don't change that much.
They do not. All right, Q McBride wants to know Herbert. Oh no, not Herbert. Herbert's down. DeVito or Will Levis? I'm going to lean Levis here against Houston. It's a softer secondary, and they could be passing. They do pass a bunch.
Yeah, and that's going to be a close. I mean, the spread, the implied point total is higher for the Titans for sure. And DeAndre Hopkins actually looked great lately.
He does, right? He looks really good.
He's playing mean. He's playing like they're not already eliminated for the playoffs, which they pretty much are.
Flex PPR. Montgomery, Jacoby Myers, Dalton Kincaid, or Cooks?
Even as big of a Kincaid fan as I am, I'm going to start David Montgomery. I think he finds the end zone this week in that matchup. It's against the Broncos.
Yeah. Cleveland D or the Atlanta D? Cleveland's up against Chicago. Atlanta is... Where are they?
Division game.
Right? Oh, they're Atlanta against Carolina. I might lean Atlanta here.
Yeah, I agree. That game, the over-under is like going to be like, when all is said and done, 34, yeah.
No, just 4.
4. Just straight up 4.
Somebody's going to have a safety.
Bijan's been a safety machine this year, I feel like. He's been tackled in the end zone like 3 times.
Ooh, is that his fault?
It's not his fault, but I'm just saying when you're capping the game.
Breece Hall, PPR, Breece Hall, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley need 2. Barkley and Henry.
Yeah.
Rod, these aren't tough questions. What are you doing, Rod? Rod, you're so much better than this. I talk to you all the time. All the time. Sure. We talk on Facebook chat all the time, dude.
He wants to be sure.
Yeah, but you're worrying too much and you're overthinking stuff. You're overthinking it. Well, because I guarantee you what he's thinking about with this thing, with like Henry should be locked in there with what he does to Houston.
Right.
But for me,
he should be locked in jail for what he does to Houston.
Barkley's a lock. It doesn't matter what the matchup is, because at least 50% of their offense runs through Barkley.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, we gotta hustle it up here. We only got a couple of minutes left, and we got stuff going on. So here you go.
I'm the rapid fire master, dude.
You are ready. Try and limit your commentary. Here you go. Zach Moss, Javonte Williams, or Breece Hall need 2.
Moss, Javonte.
Zach Moss, Breece Hall, Javonte, D-Hop need 2 and a flex.
Bench Breece.
Bench Breece. Must be playoffs. I've got a kicker question here. Tyler Bass or Jake Moody?
Moody, dude. Moody versus Cardinals.
Moody booty. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. We got that. Won my RT Sports Best Ball. Love that. Here we go. Jerome Ford, Najee Harris, David Montgomery, Devon Achane, and Javonte need 2.
Achane can't bench Achane right now. And I like Javonte in this matchup.
All right. Javonte and Achane. Hey, how you guys doing? Put your Twitch glasses on here.
Twitch glasses. Twitch gang, the young star.
He needs a week 16 defense here. Saints go up against the Rams. So I don't even. Oh, Vikings against Detroit. Bears against Arizona. Kind of like Bears against Arizona.
Yeah, for sure.
That's where I'd go. Would you guys start Engram or McBride half-point PPR?
It's got to be Engram. It's got to be Engram because he just went off against one of the toughest defenses. His matchups, he'll be fine against Baltimore as well.
Yep. Oh, here you go. I feel like this might be trolling you a little bit, but make the decision, Coop. Kincaid or McBride? Which one of your children do you love more?
If Kincaid gets a full practice in and he's a full goal, I will have him at McBride.
All right.
Yeah.
I may have to start Deontay Johnson at flex in the same league. Would you potentially start McBride and Engram over Deontay Johnson?
No.
Probably not.
Yeah, they both have bad matchups.
If Stroud doesn't play, I just took you as your no. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. I shouldn't be giving commentary. I just can't help myself.
If Stroud doesn't play, he's got Howell as a backup. Should I go with Howell or pick up Levis, Flacco, or Browning?
Flacco's intriguing, but I'm going Howell. It's a matchup. That shootout game, baby. Let's go.
Oh, Anthony says Parker Washington's the new Marlon Mack. That's just mean.
Kind of
right. What if Parker's mom watches this show?
How dare you?
Hey guys, I picked up Ty Chandler. Should I start in the flex non-PPR? Waddle, Chandler, or Jalen Warren?
No, Waddle had 100 yards against the Jets last time. He should be fine.
Okay, beautiful. There's that Kincaid versus McBride again. Coop looking to get some tight end action this weekend.
I think that was to the ear.
It was Sham Blunt said that. Sham Blunt said that on the Fantasy Alarm show the other day. She was like, "I'm looking to get some tight end action today." I was like, "Do you know what you just said?"
Way to go!
Debating on Jalen Reed, Rashee Rice, or DK Metcalf need 2. Rice and DK.
Yeah, Rice and DK. Even we love Reed, but Rice and DK are hot, scorching.
Bijan or Pollard?
Bijan. We're big on Bijan.
Achane, Puka, Zeke, Connor, pick 2.
First 2, Achane and Puka.
Yep. Achane and Puka. And look at this. We're going to clear the deck right now, Coop.
Wow.
You did an amazing job, Andrew Cooper.
I think you're the greatest guy in the whole wide world.
Give you a big old hug. Get my paws around you there. Oh.
We did it.
Downs, Pop Douglas, JSN, or OBJ? It's OBJ for me.
I kind of like JSN. So last one we disagree on takes. I'm going to check with someone else. Also, Dan Schwartz. We missed Dan Schwartz. Javonte and Zach Moss.
Javonte, Zach Moss, and Connor, and you want Javonte and Zach Moss?
Yep.
All right. Jordan Love or Trevor Lawrence? Points per completion.
Trevor, he looked fine. He'll be fine.
Boom, boom, boom. That's going to do it for us. Thank you guys so much. I love the questions in chat. Hit us up over at fantasyalarm.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe here on the show. Big thank you to Brian Burns for being the smart-ass producer we have all grown to love and adore. For Andrew Cooper, I'm Howard Bender. This has been Alarm Fantasy Football. We'll catch you next time.
Adios, turd nuggets.